This is an excerpt of me reading from my small book of 7 essays. This is the preface of which I started writing. I'm going to read it out loud so I can get used to speaking on camera and also reading aloud my thoughts. So here it goes. It starts with the preface. I sit quietly as I type and contemplate the state of my being's current situation, fueled by caffeine from South American yerba mate and some American spirit tobacco. Can my expression of being translate to a greater audience who suffer alongside each other in our own struggles, tribulations, and crises? Guided by some divine natural flow, call it God, divine intelligence, or the universe, will this stream of consciousness resonate with the silent majority? The year and date is currently May 5th, 2026, and the USA and Iran flirt with war, none of which is approved by the Republic's Congress. Yet precedent allows unilateral missions approved only by the commander-in-chief and its war leaders, shooting oil prices sky high, which is causing strain in the greater economy. It has many of us pondering, war for what cause? Is it war for the petrodollar, war for Iranian liberation, or war for the central intelligent international banking system? War is always good for business. I remember as a child when 9/11 took place. Though I was only young, being born in 1995, I remember the vivid emotions, the somber stillness to my listening ears, the silence like a pause of wind and bird songs in a thriving forest, a deafening stillness. Our teacher brought us all into a room to watch the TV. It had only been a few hours of schooling here on the Pacific coast of California. I'll never forget that fateful day, where it seemed that our country took a fatal blow. Unbeknownst to us that the rippling effect would lead to the war in Iraq, the forever war in Afghanistan, and in some part the greater economic recession of 2008. My mother would describe seeing the caskets of our fallen men and women arriving at the military bases in my backyard, Camp Pendleton. Flags draped over them, the men and women who bled to keep the American stripes bright red. As I grew older, I would ask questions to the men and women who served, and many would echo the same grievances. War for what? Again, war is good for business. I find it little coincidence that the company in charge of building and protecting Iraqi oil fields was Halliburton, with direct ties to our vice president at the time, Dick Cheney. Now we look at this war today and the same question remains. What is this war for? 40% of Americans have less than $40% of Americans have less than $400 in their checking accounts. Credit card utilization is on all-time highs, and half the country is purchasing groceries on credit. Mind you, these grocery costs are astronomically high, with one trip equaling half a day's minimum wage. If we use the government's poverty line of $40,000, most Americans are at or below it. The strain is suffocating the American dream. I will always side with my country's conflict, as to fight and physically protest against the government may cause more harm than good. Let Caesar do as Caesar pleases. As we learn from history's greatest movements, it's best to beat them at the ballot, beat them at human consciousness, and beat them with the pen.